Welcome to One Spark, an event for ideas. We believe ideas make impact, and we want to see a world full of inspiration and passion. This will be a live and a virtual gathering. It's for both budding and seasoned professionals. Our hope is that you leave challenged, maybe ignited, certainly inspired. We believe that ideas are critical and to be part of the world that we want to see. And one of the biggest things that we believe in is that a passion-filled idea can create inspiration, and it only takes one spark to create a wildfire. So for today, we'll have 5 speakers coming up. And the 5 speakers can talk about anything that they want. It can be one word or one phrase. We want passion and inspiration. Our goal is to infuse into the world more passion and inspiration. We have an opportunity to be part of the future that we want to see. And we think that it might start with one spark. So, I'm your host, Josh. I'm going to be transitioning our speakers on and off, but I wanted to tell you just a little bit about where One Spark came from. And as we're getting started, I want to make note of our logo, the asterisk, or spark, if you will. See, the essence of the spark, the asterisk, in an author, it allows you to include omitted content that might be relevant. And I love how our gifted and talented designer, Nico Mejia, he says this. He says, the overlaying sparks is the intersection and collaboration of ideas that might not be included in everyday talk or topic, but they might be critical to the bigger picture of life. That's the essence of One Spark. That's what we want to see, a shift in perspective. So I was trying to think about this for a second. Where did One Spark come from? And I was trying to put my finger on the exact moment or inspiration, and I was brought back to this poem that really is at the heart of it. It's always been with me, but in light of the last several years, it's the thing that sparked this idea. I may not look the part. I like poetry. I love poetry. I love stories and storytelling, and if you know me in my career, or even at a lunch table, I like to tell stories. So the idea is that as we tell stories and create ideas that matter, we get to infuse inspiration into this environment. So back to the poetry. The poetry piece, my favorite poem, is Birches by Robert Frost. Now, it's a rather long poem, so I'm not going to recite it. But what I love about it, it's about perspective. It's from an older gentleman looking back on his youth. And in the only way that Robert Frost can, he infuses this romantic perspective of days before. And what I love is he sees these trees, these birch trees, and he talks about how he was a climber of birches and how he would climb all the way to the top and bend them over and ride them down. And it is poetry. What I love is he's walking as an older man and he sees the same birch trees. And what stuck with me, and it has always stuck with me, is that he says, I once was a swinger of birches, and I prefer to believe that they were bent over by swingers of birches. And he goes on and he says, I know that I'm looking at these trees, and they're probably bent over and worn weary by snow and ice. And it's beautiful. And he says, but I would prefer to believe that some swinger of birches who rode them down to heaven's tops and enjoyed the ride is what's responsible. And he goes on to talk about how he doesn't want to grow weary of this pathless world and how earth is the place for love, and that he would prefer to believe that they are swingers of birches and that one could do worse than be a swinger of birches. That is about perspective. And my hope and my dream and my desire for us is that we're infused with perspective. And that you might see something that you see every day, and that because of One Spark, just perhaps you see something a little bit different, and that one spark might inspire something in you. Perspective, inspiration, ideas. This is a free sharing space to talk about passion and ideas. Not all of them will be relevant to your particular story, but they all are relevant to the bigger picture of life, as Nico says. What we want to see and what we want to be part of is that free sharing of ideas. And we want to share them with gusto.